Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Today, let me show you how you can get around the fact that you can't lock individual cells in numbers. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 700 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you can read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So I often get asked, how can you lock individual cells in numbers? This is something you could do in Excel, but in numbers you could only lock entire tables. Now, being able to have multiple tables in numbers is one of its most important features and something a lot of people just don't use. Let me show you an example of how you can use multiple tables and the ability to lock those tables to create really good spreadsheets. So we're going to use one of the templates here as an example instead of building something from scratch. I'm going to use the mortgage calculator template that comes with numbers. So here you've got something that's got various different elements like text boxes. You've got two spreadsheets here and you even have a chart. The only numbers you should be really editing in the spreadsheet are these four numbers here. You adjust these four numbers and then it will give you new calculations here and an entire new spreadsheet here with all sorts of different numbers in it. And this chart will also change as well. What would be nice is if you could lock everything except these four cells, so only those are editable. So there's no function to say select these cells and lock them. You either lock the entire table by going to Arrange, Lock, and now nothing in the table can be edited, or you have the entire table unlocked. But you can see here we have multiple tables, so we can actually lock some parts of the spreadsheet and not others. For instance, there's nothing editable here. This is all calculations based on these numbers here. So if I select something in this table and I go to lock it, now I can't accidentally mess this table up. The same thing with this chart. I can go here and lock that. So how can I lock everything in this table except for these four cells? Well, I'm going to show you three different ways to do it. Let's do the quickest way first, although not the most elegant. And that is to create a separate table that holds these four cells. Now I could create a new table by clicking here, create a new table, make it one column by four rows, and then adjust all my formulas so that, say, instead of this formula here being B1 times B2, it actually refers to the new table. But there's a really easy way to do that. You can separate cells from a table. All you need to do is select them. So I'm going to Shift click to select these four cells and then click and hold and drag, and you can see it will drag these four cells away. If I drop it there, I get that new table. These four cells are left blank, but the cool thing is that all of the formula references have moved to that new table. So if I click here you can see it says Table 1 A1, Table 1 A2, which is over here. So I've done all that work with a simple drag and drop procedure. Now let's go to this table here. I'm going to go to Format Table, turn off Table Name, and then I'm going to simply drag it on top of this table. And it should lock directly in place. You can zoom in on it and kind of move it just so it's perfectly there. So all the lines line up perfectly like I just got it there. Now everything looks the same, but I can go and select this table here and then go to lock it. This table, which is floating on top of it and a separate element, that's unlocked. So now I've succeeded in having everything here locked except for these four cells, and I've done it rather quickly and easily. Now if you think it's messy to have one table sitting over another, you can simply break this up into three tables. So we've got this table here all ready to go. Let's go and break this apart. I'm going to use Arrange, Unlock, or Option Command L. Select these, click, hold, and drag them away. And I'll do the same with these. Now let's delete this table here and I'll move these in place. And just have them all kind of snap to each other. And I can make adjustments. I probably want to get rid of the table name for this table here and adjust it and put it right there. I can adjust the formatting. I could add a name for this here, or maybe just create a text box that goes across the top. And now I've got three separate tables and I can select these two tables here and lock them and leave this third one unlocked. I get the same result. I also got a third method which I like the best because it'll create the best looking result. And if you're starting something from scratch, it's a great way to design something. And that's not to actually mess with these tables much at all, but to create specific spaces where it's obvious to the user of the spreadsheet they can enter in new data. So I'm going to select all three of these elements here just to move them down and create some extra space. I'm going to create a new table here and just make it a plain table with no header or footer rows. I'm going to shrink it to one cell like that and drag it over here. And I'm going to make it just a little bit wider. And let's set this to be the purchase price. Then I'm going to select here and copy the value. It's just a value, a number in there. Paste it in here so I have a good starting point. So that's the starting point purchase price. Now I'm going to select it and copy, click off of it and paste so I get a new copy of it here and put another one cell table there and I'll call this down payment and I will select here copy and paste. Not only does it paste in the value but also the cell formatting. So this has little arrows here to allow you to adjust the amounts. Let's go and do the same thing creating two more here. I'm going to option drag to duplicate these. Now let's bring these a little closer to each other so they all fit. Now I want to make sure the values from these cells are used and not the value from these cells. Now I could just eliminate these. I could select them, delete them, but I would have to first update all the formulas here. So there are a lot of different formulas, not only these three, but formulas down in here that would have to be updated to refer to these. An easier way to do it if I've already created the spreadsheet is to simply have the values here refer to these values. So for instance, this value here I can replace by hitting the equals key, enter a new formula, and the formula is simply just a quick reference to this value. And now you can see I change it here and you can see it changes there and that changes everything else as well. So now what I need to do here is delete this value since it has special cell formatting. So I need to delete it before I can use the equals key to then refer to this. And then I'll do equals, refer to that. And then here I'll do delete and then equals and refer to that. So now each one of these refers to one of these cells up here. So now I can go and select this table, select all three of them in fact, and lock them. And now you can't change the values in any of those, but you can change these four values and it's kind of clear here at the top. You can even add extra text here to say alter these four values and see the results below. And anything I change here, like I go and change the down payment to 11%, you can see it changes there and then it changes all those values. If I wanted to I could even go further. Let's unlock this table here. I could select these four rows here and then go to table and then hide four rows. And it actually hides those four. So I just get this now. You can, of course, as I said before, just change all the formulas here to refer to these cells. But that's a little bit harder to do since the spreadsheet's already set up. But if you were creating something from scratch like this, then you would just design it to actually use these four cells here. And there's no need to have four hidden rows there repeating the same values. I publish new tutorials every weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. Then hit the little bell icon to get notifications for each new tutorial.